right. Okay. So, Simi, we're going to start with a story, right? Everyone loves a story, and stories helps us to to, to get and to anything we grasp. It helps it to stick, right? Anything you're saying, tying to a story helps us to always, it goes straight into our memory. So I want to ask our first question would be, just tell us a story of how you entered into university, gaining admission, right?
Mm.
From secondary school to gaining admission. How was that like? The course of study, right? Because we have also here some young people who are still trying to get admission into school. We have people who are, just in their 100 level, and this will be something that will be beneficial to them. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so very much. Thank you, Mindthegap. And apologies, I couldn't join in yesterday. I had my last paper.
Oh, I think the volume is low.
Can you hear
I
me
think the
now?
volume is low.
Can you hear me now?
Or is it from my end? Okay, the volume is great. Okay, I think it's from my end. All right.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay,
You
so
can go
I
on.
was saying apologies, I couldn't join in yesterday. I had my last paper of my penultimate year of study, that's 400 level, and it ran into 4 p.m. and all of that. So thank you very much for having me. It's a great honor to be here. So we'll get right into it. So I graduated from school in 2019. Yeah, 2019. So I had between February 2019 to September 2019, I wrote like all the series of exams you can think of for a senior secondary school 3 student. So from JAM to WAEC to NECO and then post GTM in Unilag. And thankfully, I gained admission that same. I think my admission came in September 2019. So, but we did not resume until January 2020. And I think for me, I had a very smooth admission process, easy peasy. I was way above the cutoff, so it was not really a bother for me. But I would say that then getting into admission into Unilag, I was starting to find my footing. It was, I think my year one was not so rough. And then because we had, if I don't know if anybody recall, but if you were in university in 2020, you remember we had the HASU strike, and it lasted for about over 9 months, to be fair. So I had a lot of staying at home and then coming back to school to write exam. But my years of study has been quite okay. And then I would run it through my 200 level. So we had another ASU strike in 200 level. And I think that is when I started to pick interest in many of the things I do now, because ASU strike as it is, if you are not in a private university, you'd have to maximize that period so that you are not so demotivated by the time you get back to school. So during that period, I explored going to culinary school. I went to a graphic school as well. And I think it was in my 300 level now. I can't even remember. But I think it's either my 200 level, 300 level. And then I started to pick interest in tech. I was learning how to code. I was learning how to do product design here and there. I became a certified product manager as well. So I would just say that for me, my academic journey has been a really encompassing period. And then in my penultimate year, which is the one I just finished yesterday, I had 3 internships. First was with the LMDC, Lagos State Multi-Door Courthouse, and the second was with Alukanoye Body, and the third was with Bank of America. So all in 1 year, one academic session. So yeah, that has been like my journey so far, and it's not been so smooth as I've put it. To be fair, I've had my ups and downs, but in all, I think it's been a great one, and God has been good to me.
All right, that's very interesting. I think one thing I would like to clarify on that: 3 internships in 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
How many months? What was the? How did you do it?
Okay, so I interned with LMDC, Lagos State Multi-Door Courthouse, in October 2024.
Sorry, Lagos. What?
Lagos State Multi-Door Courthouse is the first ADR center in West Africa. So I interned in their island office in October 2024. Then after the internship, I remember I think I had about just 3 days before, after the end of the internship, then I resumed my 400 level first semester. So immediately after my 400 level first semester, I interned with with Alukano Yebode, which is a tier one law firm as well. And then after that, I resumed my internship, and then I went on the third internship with Bank of America just within the academic session as well. So that makes it three. So to be fair, I think it's not even about, I would say one academic session. In one academic session.
All right. Okay. That's very interesting. Right. Please let's be noting down anywhere we have questions. We'll have a section for that. All right. So how did you hear about these opportunities? Right. I mean, going into this, I only knew about one internship. Now we're hearing about three internships. So how did you hear about this? Because when you think of going to school, you just want to, ace your exams,
Mhm.
have goals of ending or graduating with a first class or a second class. So, but how did you navigate this opportunities?
Okay, so for me, I would say that I've been someone that's had multiple interests right from time. So I've always been one to do one thing and do one thing on another hand and do multiple things together. So as soon as I progressed in my law journey, I started to feel like there was something I was missing out and there was something else I needed to add. And thankfully, I've been blessed with a lot of mentors on my journey. One of which is my biological sister. She has actively mentored me over the past 5 years. So I remember applying for some set of internships in 2023 because I code as well. I'm a software engineer with almost 3 years of experience. But I was applying for majorly tech roles. So think of software engineer, think of majorly core tech roles. And then I did not get any offer in 2023. And then I remember getting on the call with my certification process. We might need to review it and do this and do that next year. So for me, I'd always known about internships to be fair, because if you're close to law students, you would know that law students like go for internships a lot. And even though they are very competitive, internships are not something that quite unknown in the law field. But the only thing is that when it comes to global summer internships outside Nigeria, then that is where there is not so much knowledge about, because first, many people believe it's not possible, and then many people have not really seen it happen. So, but then when it comes to internships, I would really credit the law field for that. Like, we are known for going for internships. So then, narrowing it down to Bank of America, I heard about Bank of America from my sister. So remember, I said I'd applied in 2023. I did not get an offer, and although I did not apply to Bank of America, but I applied to other banks, Goldman Sachs, name it. I think I submitted over 10 applications in 2023. And even though I got like to the second stage of assessment and I progressed in many of the application process, but I did not get any offer in 2023. So in 2024, I was applying again, this time with more knowledge, with more experience, with better insight, and with the guidance of my sister, which I mentioned. And she had said to the list of to the list of companies you're applying into, had Bank of America to it. So this time around, I did things differently. I had reached out to people who had interned with Bank of America. I had reached out so I started reaching out to them. So typically, application opens ending of July, or I think by August, application is open. So ending of July stroke August, the application is open. So I started reaching out to people as early as May 2024, saying, "Oh, I know applications have not opened yet, but if you don't mind, I'll be happy to do an internship. What are the insights you think I should have? What are the things you think I should know? Do you have any advice for me on how to structure my CV and all of that?" And to be fair, because people are actively busy, I did not get so many responses, but the responses I got were really valuable. So the first thing I did was to restructure my CV. I did that with the help of my sister as well. I restructured my CV, and then in between 2023 and 2024, I'd taken on internships. I'd done one or two virtual internships as well, just to improve my chances and then better still sharpen my experiences. So as soon as applications opened, I was very ready to apply. My CV was ready, my essays were ready, and then the only thing was now for me to just put in the application. And I remember after reaching out to people, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, I think you're good to go. You're ready to apply." And then I'd put in my application in September of 2024. So I remember applying to for Bank of America, because different investment banks and different summer internship, they have like different application process and timeline. But for Bank of America, once you submit your application, if you meet the minimum benchmark they are looking for, you would get an automatic invite for the higher view interview, which means that you made it to the second stage of interview. So I remember submitting, but I submitted my application on the midnight. I think around one was it end or about 1 a.m. So I remember getting invited for the higher view that night, and so it's like, oh, I just got invited, this and this and that, and then you'd have like 4 to 5 days to take it to do the assessment and all of that. So yes, I submitted my application. I did the higher view interview, and then I had a very long wait process. So I submitted my having interview like early October, and then I did not hear back until late November. I think of the third week in November or the last week in November. So I did not hear back until then. But in between, I think they sent about 3 mails saying, we are reviewing your application is a review and all of that. And eventually, I got invited for the last stage of assessment, and then I ultimately got an offer, and then I got to intern with the bank.
Wow, amazing, amazing. That is so much to take in, right? It's really interesting when you look at the process, right? So I will try to structure the responses you've given so far, right, or your answer to allow us, dig deeper. So you talked about taking virtual internships.
Yes, I did.
So
Yes, I did.
how does that look like? Where do you see those kind of internships, or what's how does it work?
So there are quite a number of job opportunities, and I would say that a type of job opportunities are internships. So, and then under internships, we have hybrid internships. Those are the ones you do on site and online. And then we have like virtual internships, fully virtual. And then we have internships that are on site that they require you to come to the office. So when you go to virtual internships, we have someone for age. It's a platform where you can take like internship simulation experience and have an insight into what your actual role will be. So we have Forage platform, and then we also have like the firms themselves, the banks themselves. They have most of them have career websites. So for law, for example, you'd see a lot of law firms saying, "Oh, we are taking in interns." Some would state it that it is a strictly virtual role, while some would say it is hybrid. And then this same thing applies in other industries as well. Think of engineering, think of geology, think of even biology. The same things apply everywhere. So you have to. So it brings me back to one of the major things I'll be hammering on. You have to know your industry. You need to know the field you are in. So what would apply for someone studying marine science might not exactly be the same thing someone studying nursing would use, and what would apply with someone studying maybe computer science again would not be the same thing with someone studying in education, because these fields are different, industries are different. They even have different cycles for their internship. So for law, for example, internships typically open in May, June. In fact, you can start applying as early as April. But in other industries, they have like different timelines. So the first assignment you have to do as someone who is serious about landing internships, whether virtual, hybrid, or fully on site, is to know your industry and have an insight into when these applications open and the kind of firms you should look out for, the kind of companies you should look out for.
All right. So that's key for somebody taking notes. Know your industry, have an insight into when applications open, right? I think in recent times now, you see some articles on LinkedIn advising that you submit your application early enough, right?
Exactly.
Because recruiters, companies get a large volume of applications, and before they usually you exert more effort on what you see first, or this first set of applications you receive, right? And if those guys meet the criteria, right, and they meet their benchmark, the remaining applications may just may just not even be reviewed, right? So submitting, having an insight into when applications open and submitting on time. All right. So you mentioned some sites for internship. Are there any for finding opportunities that's that are really specific to undergraduates, um, opportunities, even scholarship opportunities, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I would recommend there are quite a number of pages that are dedicated to this thing. So we have some that are dedicated strictly to scholarship, like scholarship region. So I think they have a website. I'm not sure if they run an IG page, but they have a website. So scholarship region for websites. I think scholarships corner as well. Then for general opportunities, global opportunities, ranging from internships to apprenticeships. You can look out for opportunities for youth. That's the name of their IG page. Opportunities for youth, opportunity desk as well. So those are like the few I can name off the top of my head. So they post like multiple times daily, and then you can always just read through to see if you meet the criteria, and then you'll be good to go.
All right. Okay. So in case you're taking notes again, um, I think the first one you mentioned is scholarship regions,
Yes, please.
scholarship regions, scholarship corner, then opportunities for youth,
Opportunity for you, then opportunities desk as well.
then opportunity desk. All right. So thank you for that. Um, so we'll move on to the next question. But within school, are there any like communities, clubs, you know, whiteboards that share this information that we need to look out for?
Yes, I would say my school, for example, Unilag, for example, we have an active class group chat and communities, associations as well that would always plug you into opportunities. But then if your department is not like that, because I've had people reach out to me to say, oh, we've always talked about like Mutin Society or Task Club or this society or association in Unilag in Faculty of Law, but it's not the same. So I understand that it's not the same for everywhere. It's not the same in every department. So what you can do is if your department is not actively sharing opportunities with you, then you would have to take it upon yourself to look out for LinkedIn posts and Instagram posts that specifically address it. Trust me, once you type out, if you just type out like global opportunities in the search bar, for example, it will bring out a list of leads for you, and then you can go through them to see which you can apply for. Then they also have their criteria listed. So at a glance, you can even see if you meet the criteria. So if your department, your faculty, or your school is not does not have an active community that is dedicated to sharing these opportunities, don't fret at all. Then you would have to like do it. And then even with, so the thing is, even with the fact that I have departments that share these opportunities with us, I've also taken it upon myself to actually look at opportunities. And that's because most times the things you are sharing are very generic, and they might not be centralized to your industry. They might not be specific. So you will still have to be the one to look out for them. And then another thing would be to tell your story. Let people know what you do. Let people know the field you are. Let people know the kind of opportunities you're looking out for, so that when people come across opportunities that are not exactly for them, they can always share it to you to say, oh, I saw this and I thought about you. For instance, I've come across different fields of opportunities that I know were not essentially for me, but I was able to share them to people that I know, okay, this is what they do. Like if I see a fashion school opening, for example, I know who to send it to. If I see a call for international models, I know who to send it to. And that's because these people have showed time over time, they've built that their brand, and then they've shown me that yes, this is what I do. And if you have any opportunities, if you see anything, do not hesitate to let me know on how I can plug it.
Amazing, amazing. Please let's give a thumbs up. I'm learning so much from Simi. Let's give her a wave, a thumbs up. She's dropping gems, right? Okay, so for the state where you talked about going through getting ready for that opportunity, right? In terms of through forage, virtual internships, right? Academic preparation, what was that like, right? What are the qualifications that you mostly see, right? That these organizations look out for, and how can we, prep ourselves for those opportunities?
Okay, so most of them would ask you for a CV and like you're in multiple industries. And what do I mean? Me, for example, I'm actively in tech. I'm in law. I do finance on the side, and I have like other roles that are not essentially on my CV that I take up and do. So if you're in multiple industries, then it means you'd have to have multiple CVs that say and that point to what you do specifically. And that's because when you're applying for opportunities, your CV does not have to be all over the place because it might come off as someone who is not serious enough. So that's just on the side. But then in terms of academic preparation, this would look like you actively I would say maybe actively even studying, and that's because most of these opportunities they have a minimum benchmark of 2-1, especially for the ones that are academically specific. So think of summer internships or internships in general. They have a minimum requirement of 2-1. So you have to be on a 2-1, graduated with a 2-1 or higher, or be expected to. So that's your own. But then for because we're talking about global opportunities now, so for global opportunities in general, some of them do not have they do not have an academic criteria, to be fair. They just want to see what you are good at. They just want to see what you have to offer, and what substance, what value you're bringing to the table. So I would say that in fact the only person that would ask you for academic criteria would be summer internships and the likes, those, and then scholarships as well. But if you are thinking outside, thinking of apprenticeship, thinking of fellowships or other industry specific things, then the likelihood that they would require you to have a 2-1 or higher is very minimal.
Wow, that is interesting. That is very interesting. So, what? How can they tell from? I know you submitted your CV, right? Was it your
Mhm.
CV? And what were the requirements again? Uh,
So for the Bank of America application, they have to just for the CV. So for the CV, and then you would have like essay questions. I think there were about two. So it ranges from 1 to 2 questions. Technology guys had just one essay, but for risk is 2 questions. I think IB as well. So ranging from divisions to divisions, you would have different requirements. But as a general rule, they would ask for your CV or resume because it's the same, the CV or resume, and then you have essay questions to answer. Then for other banks or other firms like Goldman Sachs, Bloomberg, some of them would require you to submit, for example, you need a cover letter. So, but all of these things are not things that are hard. They are things that you can research into or even find template on, or speak to past intents to say, please, I'll be. Although for this year, I think most of the summer internship applications are closed. I'm not so sure, but I think most of them, Bank of America has closed. Goldman has closed as well. But there will still be other ones which are open. But there will still be other ones which are open. But then they would ask for your CV, you'd have essay questions, and then you have
okay. So my next question would be, I know somebody may be wondering. So as a student, I'm still a student. What do I put in my CV? What is going to be in my CV that can stand me out from thousands of applications? And how do I even get there of having something quality to put in my CV? Something outstanding.
Hmm. So I would say that start where you are. Start where you are. And that's because it can be overwhelming for you to say, oh, how do I become that person that can get selected by Goldman Sachs? How do I become that person that can get sponsored by Google or Bank of America? But then if you're looking at starting where you are, then you will pick up the basics. So the first would be, what are the essential skills you need to have? So you start from soft skills, you move into technical skills. So soft skills like basic use of Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint, or Excel, depending on your role. And then technical skills like It depends. Some would require coding. If you are going for a technical role, it require coding. But if not, you would see like all that things, other level playing field. So again, and this is why knowing your industry matters a lot, because when you know the kind of opportunity you are aiming for, you will know what they are requiring of you. Then you'll be able to prepare for it, because the way you would prepare for a tech internship will be different from the way you prepare for a law internship, and different from the way you prepare for a finance internship. So, but then as a general rule, have basic soft skills, have basic technical skills, and then if you can take certification courses, start taking them. In fact, there are a lot of them on Udemy, on Coursera, and then there are even like CFI is like an advanced one because it's paid. CFI is an advanced form of finance, but just start where you are. Don't wait. In fact, you can even take advantage of free courses, because there are a lot of free courses available that are not even requiring you to make payment for. There are a lot of applications, fellowships are open. I remember in my early years of growth, many of the internships, or no, not internships now, many of the certification courses I took were totally sponsored and paid for. And that's because, although again, it's still a form of competitive application, because you're submitting an application saying, oh, this is why I want to be selected for this boot camp, and they're reviewing you. Some would even do interviews because people have paid for these things. So you are getting to enjoy them at no cost. So, but then again, go for it. If whatever it is like would be important to your journey, would place you at a better leverage, and position you as a competitive candidate, just go for it. Don't be afraid of taking certification courses. I've taken a lot of certification courses in my early years that I ended up not needing. But then in the long run, these are things that I can just chip in during my interview to say, oh, don't think that I'm just a law student, or I know I can do this, I have this skill, I have that skill. And that again, it just demonstrates curiosity to learning. So start where you are, take the courses you can take, enroll for the trainings you can find, apply for boot camps. Like, because I know many people say, oh, I'm just a student, my pocket money is not enough, I'm not earning so much. So look out for free fellowships, free internships. For example, if you're someone in tech, Women Tech Stars Fellowship is somewhere to start. If you're interested in cybersecurity, the Safe Fellowship is somewhere to start. So they are not exactly quote and unquote free, but they are sponsored, because like they have people who are paid for these trainings to say, okay, find 100 people who are interested in this field. Let's train them at no cost. And you'll be surprised how many of these things will just change the trajectory of your career. I would also say that when I was getting started into tech, apart from the trainings I took, one that really shaped and changed the game for me is Chicold's foundation. So it's a foundation in Lisbon, Portugal. And I remember applying again for a scholarship at no cost at all. So, and all of these things I did from my room in Lagos. So you need to open your mind and expand, broaden your mindset. If you have a global there is a growth stage that is required of you. So many people will just see your successes and your wins, and they're like, oh, I'm proud of you, I'm this and that. But the truth is that there are essential growth stages that you cannot skip. So if you're already taking certification courses, very good. Ensure that they are tailored to your path. Ensure that you're not just like doing everything here, doing that here, doing that here, or learning this today, learning that tomorrow. So you should also have like consistency in it. And trust me, as you keep up with it, as you continue growing, as you stay committed, the opportunities will start finding you. When you start out, you'll be the one looking for opportunities. But as you continue, opportunities will start finding you.
I love that line, right? I love when you start out opportunities, you are the one looking for opportunities, but because you've invested in your growth, right? It gets to a stage where opportunities start looking for you, right? So please let's drop the emojis clap. Thank you, Chisom, for that. All right. So let's quickly move to the assessment piece. You said you got the assessment email almost immediately, right? So what was
Mm-hmm.
the assessment like? What were the not telling us the exact question. Of course, if you remember the exact questions, you can share. But like, what? How did they? Was it based on your course, or um, based on the role, right? What knowledge residual did you or residue did you pull from to pass the assessment?
Okay, so for the first stage of assessment, which was the higher view interview. So the higher view interview is like a recorded, is an interview, a live interview. But the only difference is that instead of you to have like an interviewer asking you the questions, you do it on a recorded platform. So you see the questions and you record your answers, then it gets sent to them. So in fact, you prepare for an higher view interview the same way you would prepare if it was someone interviewing you, because they'll be watching these videos, they'll be reviewing it, checking your posture, reviewing your answer. So it's more or less an actual interview. So when I got the IIV interview, I applied to global risk. And global risk, like I was telling people, risk is a practice area in law. If you go to many law firms today, you see them, they have a division called governance, risk, and compliance. So it's an emerging field in Nigeria, but in Europe and in US, they applied into global risk. And then my higher view was basically about a bit about global risk and a bit about why I'm even qualified, because that's like the first stage of interview. So as a rule, your first questions would always be, tell me about yourself and why you're applying. I think it's more or less an actual interview. So when I got the IIV interview, So a way to answer this would be find out the most major one for you, or the most, or the one you are most leveraged in, and then you major in it. But at the same time, I'm someone who has not really stayed on one part to major, and that's because I've been really privileged to be able to do many things at the same time. So I would say that you would need to do that positioning with your brand. And brand positioning is an entire module, is an entire curriculum. But a good way to shorten it would be understand and know what it is you want to do. So, for example, list out 5 things you are good at. And out of those 5 things you are good at, list out 3 things you want to build a career in. So, because when you do multiple things, not everything is a stream of income. Not everything is what your career is supposed to flow from. Some are passion, some are interests, some are just avenues to growth. So you need to understand which is your career, which is your passion, which is your interest, which is for volunteering. So by the time you're able to identify all these things, then you would now know one or two. So by the time you do all of these things, trust me, you will be down to maybe 3 things. Then you can now build a career in that sense. So when you meet people, you say, "Oh yeah, I'm a lawyer. Let's say I'm a tech expert, or I'm a cybersecurity analyst, and this and that." And then as you now become clear on the things that are important to you, that you should major on in terms of your career now, you would now be able to see how each of them link to each other. So that way, you're not just able to have an idea, but you are also now able to see how the industries impact each other. So, like I said earlier, brand positioning is a whole lot of curriculum, but I think that little tip should help.
All right, amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for. I really appreciate how you take your time to answer the question and you try not to miss out anything. Right? I really appreciate that. I have another question quickly, but I want us to play a little game. I call it a little game. Simi has been talking about getting certifications, get certifications, and I think I even typed it here in capital letters, take certification courses, right? So we want to guess how many certification courses Simi has taken so far. So just drop it in the charts, right? How many certification courses has Simi taken so far, in our adult years? Of course, you don't take certification as children. In our adult years, how many has she taken so far? All right. So, Simi, I'll quickly go to the next question. You had 2 internship experiences, right? One or two in Nigeria, one in the US, right? So tell us, internship in Nigeria versus the global stage. What are the differences? What are the similarities? And help us go from interpersonal at the interpersonal level, skills based, um, knowledge application, coming from a student's POV and all of that. Right.
Okay, so I think the first thing I would say is Bank of America is headquartered in the US, but I interned in their London office. That's the United. So I was in the United Kingdom, not the US. But they are headquartered in the US, but they have like offices everywhere, Europe, Middle East, Africa, and all of that. So this one is a very tricky question, and I will try my best to see how I can answer it. So in respect to internships in Nigeria, to be fair, you really cannot compare them with internships abroad, and that's because the countries are different, the economies are different. Nigeria, for example, would be categorized as a developing nation, while the UK, for example, the US, they are where the giants are, where they are, where I would say they are. CBN is the central money point of Nigeria. So think of it as they are like the powerhouses, exactly. So they are the powerhouses of the nation. So you really cannot compare the internship experience that you would have from both of them. But one thing I would say is that look at it as a way that they complement each other. So internship in Nigeria, for example, would prepare you for the everyday life of hustle and bustle. Yeah, getting stuck in traffic. It will really build that work ethic in you. It will build that work ethic in you rather, and then it will make you you would, if it's a physical role, like I remember interning with Hello Kanoye, so and I had to be at the office, speak to people. So it sort of just prepares you for a global summer internship and then a summer internship as well. And because there are like more developed nations, the process is more stricter. We had like work phones, we had security measures, like we had an entire week dedicated to. So we had like 1 week dedicated to orientation and training, and that's because you are like, even though you are an intern, they are taking, and then because you are with them for 3 months, you are more or less an employee of the organization. It's just that the only difference is that it's a short-term employment. So that's it. So think of it as they are investing in you to ensure that you are safe enough and you are secure enough. So you are not at vulnerable point, and so their company is not also vulnerable. So to be very honest, I cannot compare the two internships, but I would say that they really do complement each other. And whatever opportunity you have, hold it. So if you get to intern anywhere, just do it like it's your best. Do it like you're interning in a global firm, because all of these things, they are building blocks to wherever height you're aiming to attain. Thank you.
Thank you. That's a really wise answer, I would say. That's a really wise answer or response. All right. So we have some questions before we take our guesses on how many certifications you've taken. Majesty is asking, I didn't know there are free certification courses. Every course I have seen requires subscriptions. Could you please talk more about that? I'll say first, Udemy. When you go to Udemy, right? Although they are paid, or Udemy is really subsidized, right? They usually have one. They usually have when you search for a course, for example, you can filter free courses, right? Under that topic, you will see the list of free courses. Then two, they have so if you subscribe to their newsletter or their inbox or their email marketing, right, you get when they slash prices, right? Some courses can drop low as 2,000 naira, right? Then I think I'll leave the rest for Simi. So I understand where this guy is coming from, because let's say Coursera, for example, now Coursera was almost or totally free in the past, but now you have to pay a certain fee to even it's based on a monthly subscription now. So Simi, can you just touch more on that if there are other platforms?
Mm, so, so I would say that again, it will depend on the kind of course you are looking to take. So, for example, if I actually want to, one thing I do, and I think it works, when I want to learn something new, I pick up my phone, I go on Google, and I type. Let's use risk for example. So I would just type top 10 risk certification courses. Or if I want to narrow it down to the free ones, I'll put top 10 free certification courses in risk. Or if you are looking for, so you would have to, it's just that most of these things. So the truth is, remember I said that I'd learned how to code for 6 months for free with a foundation in Portugal. I did not actually see the post that was saying application now open. If you want to learn how to code in 6 months for free, apply. No. Because it was in 2022, as at 2022, they did not even, it's not that they even tried to do promotions and all. As at 2022, they were not really posting. But what happened? That day I was on Google. I wanted to learn how to code by all means. So, and then I knew I would need some sort of maybe a training that was really good. So I kept on searching. What's coding bootcamp available? Free tech training. And then even I checked, okay, I said, okay, if I'm not even looking for totally free ones, not so expensive trainings that I can afford. And I stumbled on their website. In fact, I landed on their website and I was in shock. I would never forget. I saw learn how to code in 6 months at no cost. The Shikos Foundation will sponsor you. And all I did was I created an account. I submitted my application. Why do you need a scholarship? What will it do for you? And trust me, that single application acceptance, it changed. I remember the day I got like the mail. I could not believe it. Like I was in Lagos. How am I getting a free boot camp in Portugal? And then I checked the price. Like I could, as at then, I could not have afforded it. I'm like, this thing is real low. I was sitting down until they onboarded me. They sent me the link. I'm like, wow. And then it's been one of the best trainings so far that I've taken. So what am I saying in essence? The best of your opportunities may actually not be the ones that run promotions and say applications are open. Some of these things you will stumble on them. Some of these things you will be the one to find them in your search. So don't be so used to your comfort zone that you just want headliners and all. Trust me, if you can put in a little bit more effort in searching for the kind of opportunities you want, you'll be shocked at the magnitude of things you will find. So the truth is, some of these things might not be totally free, but some subsidized, and you don't have to spend so much, and they'll eventually be effective. So in response to the person that asked that question, please, after this call, I would want you to pick up your phone or whichever. So I think Google is better, because why I like Google is because it would give you, if there is a post like that on Instagram, it will give you the link to that post. So it sort of collates all the resources for you. I remember if it's on Twitter, if it's on X as well, by searching on Google, it will bring out all of these search results, and you are able to just filter through to see if it's what you want. And trust me, keep searching. Another thing will be to tell people. Like I have people who have messaged me and said, I know you're always seeing opportunities everywhere. Please, so if you find opportunity in this industry, this kind of opportunity, this is what I'm looking for. Don't forget me. And each time I see things that I know, yes, I in fact I have like mentees that I send to, like I have to send this to them, go and enroll for this, enroll for that, enroll for that. So again, speak to people, like let them know what you are looking for. You know, like a closed mouth is a closed destiny. Oh. Thank you.
A closed mouth. We don't encourage closed mouths here, right?
Good, good. Mm-hmm. you. On my LinkedIn account alone, I don't know if you can see this. I have let me show you. On my LinkedIn account alone, I have 55 certifications listed. And that is like no all. So this says 55 if you can see it. So on my LinkedIn account alone, I have 55 certifications listed there. And I have so many certifications that I did not have. And that's because I'm trying to streamline the kind of things I put up. So I have still many certifications that are not there. But if I'm looking at all the certification courses I've taken in my little professional years, even with the ones that actually did not have certification, because there are some you just learn, they will not necessarily give you a certificate. They should be over 100. They should be over 100. Yeah, they should be over 100. Exactly. So if he had said 105 plus or 100 plus, that would have, yes, you were surely close. You were close. So I would say that I'm a very I take no credit for that, to be honest, but I would say I'm a very motivated person. And when I face obstacles, the truth is that if I get discouraged in one area, I am wired in a way that I'm able to pour that obstacle or that objection into another area. So I would think of it as, let's say I'm trying to learn something and I'm not making headway. I'll take that drive and put it in something else and get results. That's how I deal with obstacles. And also there are times where you will need mentorship. So there are some that you will need to re-strategize. There are some that they mean you should take a pause and take a break. For example, as soon as I'm done with this speaking engagement, I would be taking a few more days to just really rest and be in touch with my soul and myself. And that's because the last weeks has been very draining on my end. So what am I saying in essence? The kind of obstacles you face will determine how you handle them. But then don't be someone that is easily fizzled out by obstacles. Don't be someone that does not have stamina. You self stay and fight. No gray. Yeah, so I think that answered it. So I think I can see a question on the chat box saying, how is the Bank of America internship like? I think I saw that question. So how is the Bank of America internship like? Well, it's 10 weeks. Think of it as 3 months. It's fully sponsored. You don't spend a dime from your pocket. They take care of all the processes, everything you can think of, they take care of it. So the first week started with orientation for us. So we had orientation and training and various networking sessions and a lot of coffee that was available to drink. So if you're a coffee person, you'd really enjoy it. But we had like so much, it was really fun. And then so after the first week, then so on the first day you pick up your ID card and your work and your access card as well. And then so the orientation lasts for 1 week. Then you have like 9 weeks of staying in the office and being with your team. So for me, I had one of the sweetest internship experience so far. Like I really, really, each time I relive that moment, and I'm just very happy. I'm very glad because I got to join a team that really likes me and wants me and welcomes me, and really sees the value in what I bring to the table. So I had so after the 1 week of orientation, you'd have 9 weeks of being with your team, you get assigned tasks, and in between you would have trainings to take, you would have you have networking to do. So in fact, you would not know when the entire 9 weeks resign. It just, I would say that it's just really, it's a one in a lifetime opportunity. It's the kind of opportunity that just changes your life. It changes the see, it elevates your CV and it changes the game for you. I think that's a good way to describe it. And
A motivated person or someone that deals with procrastination? How do you work around that?
so I would say that I think I'm trying to remember a quote I saw somewhere, and it said procrastination is assuming that you have the opportunity, that God would give you another opportunity. Really saying that procrastination is you undermining the gift of now, the gift of now. So I would like you to look at procrastination as something that takes from you, that steals from you. To be very honest, I used to be a very chronic procrastinator, and that's because having so much to no, here's where I'm going. When you have so much to do, you tend not to do anything. So, in as much as some people will say, it's not procrastination, it's still procrastination. Because when you have so much to do, and you're like, where do I start from? What do I do? As long as you're not doing what you should be doing, you're procrastinating. So, but then in dealing with procrastination, have a picture of your preferred future. There's one of my matriarchs that I really love and honor so much, Debola Dejikoromi DDK. She would always say that have a vision of the end in front of you. Like, have a vision of who you are now and who you will become if you do what you should do, and who you will not become if you don't do what you're supposed to do. So simply saying, if you want to become the top, let's say one of the top five in your industries, have it in your picture that okay, if I lock in, if I stay serious, I can become the top five, one of the top five in my industry. But if I do not and I keep procrastinating, then I will not. So that way it re-engineers your mind and you are able to do what you should do without necessarily needing so much push. Trust me, as soon as you're able to conquer procrastination, you will become a driven and self-motivated person because you will not be relying on feelings to do things anymore. You will not be relying on drive or external motivation or giz like my spiritual father would call it. You will not be relying on all those things, external stimuli. I mean, because feelings are even fleeting. So have a picture of where you are going in front of you. And another thing will be to be disciplined. Trust me, there are days you'll be tired. For example, this webinar, there are 1001 reasons why it should not hold, why it should not have heard, or why it could not have heard. So, but if you keep giving excuses, like you would keep delaying on the impact you should make. So put your feelings aside and be disciplined. Have mastery over yourself and do what you should do. Don't assume that you have all the time in the world. Do what you should do, get to it and move to the next thing. And in dealing with doom scrolling, it's the same thing. For starters, you can set limits on your app. So Instagram has this thing of limits. For example, when I was writing exams, in fact, it was just yesterday night that I removed the limit on my IGR because I've set my Instagram limit to 1 hour. So I don't exceed 1 hour, even though there are days I actually exceed 1 hour, but at least it keeps me, I have that consciousness that I should not spend too much time on social media this day, this period, this season. And there are days that I just want to really relax and just catch up with the world and see what's going on. So again, have mastery over yourself, be disciplined. Have, and I'm trying to see how to construct what I want to say. So have honor for your future. Yes, honor your future, honor where you are going. And see, if you honor where you are going so much and you have respect for your future, you would understand that if you keep procrastinating, if you keep snoozing, you will not get to it, you will not become it. So I believe that answers the question.
Yes, it does. It does. I like that phrase. Honor your future. Honor your future, and um, the gifts of now, the gift of,
Mm,
making most of today, because tomorrow you're not the owner of tomorrow, basically, right? You don't own tomorrow,
exactly.
so you can't lay claim tomorrow. You can only lay claim on today that you have. All right. I don't know if we have more questions from the audience here. Um, for the guys on YouTube, I don't know if we have any questions. For our guys on YouTube, do we have any questions over there? Come and just give me a moment to. Okay, okay. Bukola, Bukola, are you able to unmute? Bukola, are you able to unmute? Um, I don't know. The admin, Bukumin, can you help us with the audio so that Bukola can unmute and ask a question?
Okay. Thank you so much for the very wonderful speech. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, please go on.
Okay, thank you so much for the wonderful speech. Okay, about the application for the Bank of America. Like I tried applying one time, and when I saw one of the options, it was like, will you now or in the nearest future need Bank of America to like sponsor your visa, like all those like
Mhm.
transportation. So initially, my first application, I said no, and I was like, it was like, okay, you are not eligible to like apply for this thing. Why the second one? I was like, yes, yes, I was able to like continue. So I was like trying to like pick out is that is that always the case, or it is just some regions that like restrict like can you like sponsor yourself that restricts you to like yes, and if you pick no, they're like okay, you're not like eligible to like apply for this. And my second question, sorry, and my second question is that for that to be a risk analyst, you have to like take some certain courses because I don't think there's a particular course in uni that is like okay risk analysis. So I've been trying, like for some time now, I've been trying to like take on online courses on risk analysis, but I've not been seeing any. I've checked edX, I've checked Coursera, and I've not been seeing any. So are there like websites or probably apps that we can like use to like register for online courses that has to do with risk analysis? Thank you so much.
So I think I would let me see the first question on sponsorship. So I can't really say it. That would depend on the kind of application you were submitting for. But if you are submitting under EMEA, Europe, Middle East, and Africa, then I don't think the sponsorship question should be a reason why you're not eligible, and that's because they are open to sponsorship. So typically, you should actually select yes because you would need the Bank of America to sponsor your visa. You would need them to like take full charge of you. So you should select yes. But if you are filling the US application, for example, and they have the sponsorship question, and that's because they do not sponsor their sponsorship is limited to people in so for EMEA, you have to apply under EMEA. And for the US, it's more like for US residents. So they do not really typically do sponsorship. So I think that answers the question on sponsorship. But I've not really heard any feedback on anybody becoming ineligible by reason of selecting me or no. I've not really heard of that. And I'm trying to remember what the second question is now. Okay, yeah. So in respect to risk and all, so I would say this will depend on the academic background that you have, because based on my experience,
Thank you, Bukola. Do we have anyone else with any questions? While I take gifts, gifts is asking I think a similar question to how you ended, saying can you share your contact on social media platforms? I guess I'll just leave out that LinkedIn part. So that'll be your IG, Instagram.
mhm.
Yes. Okay. All right. So do we have any more questions? We're about to round up. We have so many comments, no questions on YouTube. Great lecture. Thank you so much. Inspiring lecture. Someone says, good lecture, especially for the youths. And yeah, so it's been great comments so far. How would you like to share your handle? Do you want to drop it or
Um, okay, so I think I should be able to, let me see if I can, if it's something I can type out. Um,
okay?
okay, so IG, oh, wait, I should be able to send the link, but I would have to get that. Similoluwa, all my social media handles. So from LinkedIn to Instagram to Twitter. So once you put in the name on Google, it would actually show you.
Similoluwa underscore Sowunmi
That's
Insta.
for IG. And for LinkedIn is Similoluwa show me as well. But let me see if I can get my link.
Okay.
Um,
All right. Somebody's also asking on YouTube. All right. Okay. All right. Yes. Creative. You can type your question. Or admin, if you can help with the mic also, access to
so this
speak.
is for LinkedIn. And then yeah, so IG LinkedIn, then Twitter is
I think we can just quickly do a follow. Just go to IG straight up. All right. Okay, so MS Creative, we are waiting for your question. I will just, as a wrap up, right? Um, I'll just ask for like closing remarks and just tell us how this internship has opened doors for you, right? Other opportunities. If you don't want to go into specific details, that's fine. Just to hint us on, the impact of the internship. Yeah.
Okay, so I would say that when you do a global internship, particularly with multinationals and big firms and big four or big five as they were, it's sort of that you can no longer work with small organizations unless you want to be fair, unless you want to. So no discrimination, but the truth is with something like that on your CV, you only go up, you can't go down. So you get to go down, you only go up. And you start calling the shots in the industry. So you start telling HRs, I'm sorry, you start reject. There's a way they reject application. You said you start rejecting companies and say, I'm sorry, I can't work with you. So yeah, so it just, to be honest, it changes the game for you. It changes the game. Like
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Um, MS Creative, it's obvious you're just joining this session, right? Because you answered this. So just go on YouTube. It's live on YouTube. Autonomics channel. You see it there, and you can watch the session again. Trust me, if you watch it again, your questions were answered earlier in the session. So are we ready? How many people are unmuted? Just us. Mercy, please let's unmute. Okay, are we ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, let's go.
Thank you, Sweetie.
thank you, everyone. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so
We are very
much.
grateful.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate your time. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
All right.
Thank you
Thank
for
you,
having me.
everyone. We'll send
Bye.
this link afterwards. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.